I'm going to tell you what basically an economy is, or simply I would say tell you explain you how it basically the services are. So services economy is basically dependent on three parts. One is the intellectual part. Second is the energy or kinetics part. Third is the resources part, and fourth is the land part. Basically the lands. These four things basically decide are that is the amount of services which a country can provide. It is a mix of these three things. These three things basically mixed together to form an economy of the country. There's the human services, and this services part can be traded for money, which basically decide how rich the country is. That is, you see in reality. And two more things. That is the reality. That is how rich a country is. What is the GDP of a country. But there are several factors as well. I am going to explain further. And how simply wealth of a country, how rich a country is. Other two things are basically these services are divided into two parts. That is human services and the natural services. Services which are provided by nature, such as better quality, better atmosphere, good quality water from the river, or better general atmosphere, better to breathe. And general atmosphere is basically that where we provide the natural services. There's better good air to breathe, good air, good water to drink, and good and beautiful ecosystem which you see all the stuff which is basically provided is a set of natural services which is generally free of cost. Temperature, as well as the temperature, living temperature, is also very critically important. Also comes in this part of a country's natural system, or natural environment ecosystem. You will know about this importance. Like if Elon Musk sends his rovers towards the Mars, then he's going to add people in this natural environment. He's going to try to have the people in his own natural environment in the cabins, that is in different apartments. And the efforts which are required to provide that basic level of natural ecosystem is what is the one when you will realize that how important the nature is for the economy, or how important the services of nature are. Second is the human services, which the services are provided by humans, whether it's in the form of information technology, that is better video games, or very better things like better machinery, better food which you eat from is generated by made by humans, or I would say more digital computers, cars, and all that stuff, which is basically human services in itself, which comes in these three sections of parts. Is a mix of these things, these three things. First thing is human intellect, basically intellectual, or how complexity. Even natural services come in this system, the complexity, or how resources are basically resource management system. The humans manage resources in a very efficient way. And the more educated the country's economy is, that is, the more educated the people are, more efficiently they will be good at resources. More technology they are going to be made which is going to make their country more efficient, thereby boosting the economy. Plus, not only this, it helps to increase its own economic output, but also helps to boost energy sector and resource generation sector, and even land sector sometimes, if that is in future, if the space exploration happens. Also, then more educated the countries are more, plus also the cultural effect is also that where the better country's culture is, more rich a country, I think, is more. On culture also, I would not say necessarily does not mean if a country is rich in culture, but if people love their own culture, there is people basically like their own culture. It is not love their, I would say, if people basically are happy with their culture, is a better term, I would say, because many countries are basically rich in culture, but that necessarily doesn't mean that people like their own country's culture, or happy with it. And I would say the freedom with the culture, basically good, how good their culture is, how beautiful is that. That is also a critical part of it. In this also sector also, that is, the more the countries more the free the countries, there is more the freedom are provided to the people, better the intellectual system is going to be, better the economy is going to be. Second is the side, the energy sector, that is the energy and kinetic transport, that is sector, that the transport of trucks, which is used to transport resources, mineral resources, as well as intellectual, that is humans in itself use this transport system. The bullet trains, the energy, electricity sector, and all that stuff generally come in this kinetic sector, I would say. And it is also, of course, a critical part of an economy, or the machinery by which they works with the help of electricity in itself. Third is the resources, that is the iron, you can consider iron, steel, copper, silver, gold, and etc. and other metals or other resources. Even food resources also come in this sector in itself. Oil, coal are also help in generating the services, and all these three things have an impact on each other. Fourth is of course land, because land is where you are going to apply these three services to generate infrastructure, all that stuff which is going to be provide you services. Land can be real and virtual as well, as you know have heard about the virtual lands as well, but it is more of a secondary economy, because virtual lands are dependent on the actual land in itself, or the real lands, because virtual lands are, are inside those computer processors, which is more of a technology, and those computer processors of course require land or area where they can be safely kept. So definitely this is what an economy is. And um, third, fourth, and then you there is natural services definitely free, and this is what basically an economy is. It's not necessarily that if a country is having more money or more GDP per capita is rich, it is the services which is it is having, whether in the mix of human resources and natural resources, is what basically decides how rich a country is. It may be like the human resources may be cheap in one country, maybe expensive in another country, but how people are living standard, or how basically resources people are having, also these services people are having, is what decide whether the country is rich or not. And the natural resources definitely have their own critical impact, because as I've told you, they're free of cost, and definitely they're free of cost, and sometimes maybe they may become in the game of money also, but they're almost also important. Plus in this capitalist system, as you know, more intellectual people are, or people who are good at resource management, are going to move at higher financial positions, so they are going to make the country's economy more efficient. So this is all the general architecture of the economy, or how economy human services are basically as what decide how rich a country is.